and this time I'm going to be talking about the Golden State Warriors. Jimmy Butler, star small forward Jimmy Butler has a season-ending ACL injury, and of course the Warriors have announced good news about Jimmy Butler's season-ending injury, as they took a massive blow on that front. If I can get to the thing. Jimmy Butler tore his right ACL and is out for the rest of the season. Draymond Green returns from injury for the game against Toronto Raptors. Will Richard and Goy Santos are also cleared to play as the Warriors seek a fifth straight win. The Golden State Warriors star Jimmy Butler made headlines for all the wrong reasons. On Tuesday, the six-time All-Star was helped to the locker room on Monday night against the Miami Heat, suffered a knee injury. Jimmy Butler was in a lot of pain and could not put on any weight on his right knee as he was exited the playing court. The Golden State Warriors announced Tuesday that Butler tore the ACL in his right knee, and the 36-year-old has been ruled out for the rest of the season. Golden State Warriors was back in action, of course, on Tuesday against the Toronto Raptors. On the tail end of a back-to-back set, the team announced some good news about Draymond Green before the game. Green did not play on Monday as the Warriors defeated the Miami Heat 135-112. The former Defensive Player of the Year was sidelined by a right ankle sprain. According to Steve Kerr, Green has been bothered by the injury over the past couple of games. And the good news for the Warriors is that Green will return to the court on Tuesday. And the team announced a head-off tip that the Green was available to play against the Raptors. The 35-year-old will return to action after getting the night off on that Monday. Apart from Green, guard Will Richard, who has started the last two games, has been cleared to play. The 6'3" guard has been dealing with a glute injury, but will be available. And Goy Santos will return after a 2-game absence due to a left ankle sprain. Butler's loss was a massive blow for the Warriors, but at least they get some bodies back for the Raptors game, which they obviously won on that, which I talked about that. Golden State will be back. Will stack his fifth straight win on Tuesday. They entered a matchup 25-19 record for 8th in the Western Conference. So, yeah, I did not get a chance to talk about this news. Jimmy Butler's ACL, season in the ACL in his right knee. That is a big blow for the Golden State Warriors because defensively, without his presence, the team just performs differently. Goy Santos and Will Richard, don't get me wrong, they're good players, they're good role players. But, like, the impact of what Jimmy Butler does, along with Draymond Green and Steph on the court, that's like their new calibrated, like, the big three. But now, since you lose one of your star players, that pretty much hinders and hurts your team at all costs, and it puts you in an absolute bind. Now, they did a good job against the Miami Heat due to what his injury was sustained in that game, and then, of course, against the Toronto Raptors, of course, they proved they were significant without him. But, like, going down the stretch where you got to face teams like, to try to still compete for the playoff spot, you got to face teams like, well, of course, they're playing right now against the Dallas Mavericks. They're down by 10. But just like you got to face teams such as the Spurs or the LA or the Lakers, the Houston Rockets, and of course the Oklahoma City Thunder, the defending NBA champions. You know, you just got to face up against those teams, and not only defensively, you got to bring it. Offensively, you don't really have as much firepower other than what Steph Curry does and what Buddy Hield does. And then, of course, Draymond Green, the physicality and the brutality that he tries to bring defensively, but at the same time gets riled, it gets hostile, it gets very belligerent out there on the court. So without Jimmy Butler, the presence for the Golden State Warriors is very, very apparent. And not only he brings a caliber one-on-one defensive style and is a good help defender, and he also gets in the passing lanes and gets in transition, but his energy and energize on the court and his ability to cut and be a playmaker and create his own shot and get to the basket, that's also going to be missed because you don't really have that many guys on the Warriors like simply play make like that, other than maybe like a few. You know, like I said, with Buddy Hield, Jonathan Kuminga at times, you know, when he's off the bench, like you don't really have those kind of guys who can fully develop, really play, make, and create their own shot. And of course, Steph Curry, we always mention him in all of those conversations with that. So yeah, that's a big blow in my eyes, and they're gonna miss that. The Warriors are gonna miss that his presence not being there, and is a big hole and a big lapse moving forward, and especially gonna be after the All-Star break. Oh, hey guys, what's going on? Gary Johnson and MKS, what's going on? But yeah, that's a huge blow for the Warriors, man. Not having Jimmy Butler in that lineup, it's not gonna be looking good for them, man. It kind of just goes to show you that the era that Steph Curry era of Golden State, it's pretty much been over. I mean, it's been over, but it's really, really over at this point, you know. And because not only Jimmy Butler's 36 years old, Steph Curry's like in his mid 30s, Draymond Green is getting older. I think he's in his going to be in his late 30s. He's been in the league for quite a while. Oh, hey, Shades 567. Hey, what's going on? Oh, it's nothing much. I just wanted to talk about the Warriors and everything. The Golden State Warriors. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I'm a huge fan of the NBA, man. I'm a huge fan of women's basketball. Huge fan of the NBA. I'm a huge fan of college. All that. Yes, absolutely. I did coverage of the WNBA playoffs. You can go through the timeline and look at that. Um, did a whole coverage of the NBA finals. Um, I was gonna do coverage on Rival, but I hadn't had time yet. But yeah, no, huge fan. You know, I cover everything in sport. I cover every sports, almost every other sports topic in boxing, the NBA, and the NFL. Like those are the main things that pretty much got me into doing it. Just from it watching it as a kid, you know, on a small 24-inch screen TV. Yeah, I was watching it like that. You said which player do I like the best between Curry and LeBron? Well, well, the thing is, the difference is two different styles of play from those two guys. Um, with Steph Curry, he creates much excitement as far as his versatility to create and play making. Like I was just saying earlier, playmaking and getting around the court, and also his ability to just get to the 3-point line and just straight chunk it, just straight shoot it from midway point, from half court, and then sometimes in a full court game, like he'll just chug it up. Like he's had over like what 5,000 3-point shot attempts, and he's made at least around like 3,000 of them. I mean, he's just incredible with that. But like I said, his ability to play, make, and get off the pick and roll is just insane. With LeBron, the difference and why I think he's just slightly better than Curry in this regard, LeBron is a really good help defender. LeBron is a really good help defender. And the thing about him being a great help defender, and you can tell when he was in Cleveland, because he didn't have those kind of, he had like guys like Sasha Pavlovich or Antoine Jameson. He didn't have and a early on Danny Green and Mo Williams when he was with the Milwaukee Bucks, and then when he came over there, he didn't have like what the Golden State Warriors had with a Klay Thompson, a Draymond Green, and then eventually Kevin Durant. When they got him in free agency, he didn't have those kind of guys, and then he didn't have guys like a Monte Ellis, like Steph Curry competing with a Monte Ellis, or having a David Lee, or you know what I mean. Like he didn't have those kind of guys. Who I think is winning the Super Bowl? Oh, that's easy. That's the Seattle Seahawks. I'm going with them to win it. Their defense is top five in almost every statistical category, and they're tops in the red zone defense. Their front four with Leonard Williams, Jaron Reed, and DeMarcus Lawrence is just too much. It's gonna be way too much for them. I got the Seattle Seahawks winning it over the Rams and over the Patriots. So that's my team to go all the way. But yeah, like I was saying, getting back. Yeah, yeah, they are. But that's just great. That just goes to really good coaching from Mike McDonald, and that just goes. And also, there's really good coaching from their defensive coordinator. I cannot remember his name. I have to look that up later on and get back to you on that. But yeah, just really good coordinator from the defense, from the defensive coordinator, and really good special teams too. And I love the fact that they add Rashid Shaheed on there too. That was really great getting him there. But anyways, getting back to what I was saying about the about Golden State Warriors. Um, with Jimmy Butler, yeah. And you got to remember, Jimmy Butler started his career out in Chicago with the Chicago Bulls with Derrick Rose and Dwayne Wade. Like, when he started out with them, he was averaging like mainly in between like 15 and a half, 16 points per game. And also they end up having Rajon Rondo too. But like I said, that was when he first started out back then. And then eventually when he went to the Philadelphia 76ers, they went to the Eastern Conference Finals. You know, every team Jimmy Butler goes, he always has an impact. Then he was with the Miami Heat. Then he later on after that, after he got into it with Joel Embiid, and of course him and Tobias Harris were not on great terms. So that's when he eventually ended up getting traded. So ended up getting traded. But every team that Jimmy Butler goes to, oh, and my bad, he went to the Minnesota Timberwolves too. Him and him and Karl Anthony Towns were not on the same page at the time with each other. But anyways, any team Jimmy Butler goes on, you know, he always makes them relevant. He puts them in the best bond, in the best position possible, because of just his star power and stardom, man. So you got to give him a lot of credit. You got to give him a lot of credit, and you got to give the Golden State Warriors a lot of credit for really trying to grab him at the time that they did, and to go along and take so much onus and pressure defensively off of Steph Curry so we can have an easier, simpler matchup. You know, he's a good mid-range shooter. Like I said, he is a solid help defender. You know, the only thing about it is he don't have the kind of accolades, awards like, you know, the other guards and forwards have, like, you know, such as a Kawhi Leonard, a LeBron, or Kevin Durant, kind of in that regard. So he don't really have those kind of accolades to really put him there. But like I said, yeah, they're gonna really miss him. It's really a big impact, a big loss, him not being there. So what this means for the Golden State Warriors, since they're in the 8th spot, they're gonna have to find another 3-and-D kind of player. They're gonna have to find another defensive piece who also can not only play make, it also can play to score. They might have to just play and put Jonathan Kuminga or so in the starting lineup to really offshore of the deficiencies that they're gonna have defensively, as far as guarding the perimeter and guarding in the paint. They're gonna need somebody else that can help them out with that. But all right, that's just my announcement for them and my thoughts about Jimmy Butler's injury. Get to my next topic. Get these out real fast. All right, so the Lakers and the Denver Nuggets. Most recently, of course, the Lakers beat the Denver Nuggets by the score of 115-107. The Lakers moved still in 6th place in 26-16, while the Nuggets are still in 3rd at 29-15. The Nuggets were up by just as much as 17 points, but the Lakers were on an absolute tear in the second half, on an absolute comeback, as they came from 17 points down, and they won by 8. And pretty much the star of that show was, of course, Luka Doncic. He had 38 points, 13 rebounds, and 10 assists, a triple-double. LeBron James only had 19 points and 8 rebounds and 9 assists. And Marcus Smart came off the bench, I believe, and had 15 points. And everybody else, like Roy Hachimura, Drew Time, and everybody else was, you know, in single digits. Jackson Hayes, he was in single digits. He had 5 rebounds to go along with his 9 points. But yeah, they was down by 17 points in the first half, like 71-53. And they just came out and just were on a tear. They started knocking down shot after shot. And also, they did a lot of double teams on Jamal Murray. And they did a lot of double teams on Jamal Murray and Pickett. So they had to bring in like Bruce Brown and Tim Hardaway Jr. to kind of take the load. Because I believe Jamal Murray had like 26 points in the first half. He only scored like 2 points. He was like 1 for 3. So he was pretty much gun shy and not heavy enough, because the Lakers kind of was making adjustments by rolling the defense and covering him and forcing the ball out of his hand, him and Jalen Pickett. And so when Bruce Brown and Tim Hardaway Jr. try to come off the bench offshore a little bit to take the onus off of them and try to contribute, it was just a little bit too late, and the Lakers was just too much to handle in that sense. They just don't have nobody that can slow down Luka Doncic at all. Luka's just gonna get his shot wherever he wants to get it because he's just that kind of dynamic of a player, that dynamic of a passer. And the thing is, for anybody that worry about the Lakers, like I said, they don't have the kind of and the interior defense and the transition because they're one of the slower teams in the league because you got a lot of older guys. Gabe Vincent's getting older. Uh, Marcus Smart's getting older. Like, you got guys that are not really that fast, but what the Denver Nuggets should have used was their speed because they got a lot of young players like Cam Johnson and, like I said, Tim Hardaway. They got a little bit more younger guys than them, so they should have just used their speed, but they didn't do that. And they took too many. They took too many outside shots, outside perimeter shots, too many long 3-point bombs and 3-point shots, and it just didn't go down at all. So that's what really what made me kind of worried about them. But before this game, the Nuggets were looking decent without having Jokic or even Christian Brown in the lineup, and it kind of goes to show you that sometimes your superstars is not always going to be available. You have to find a way to step up and really put yourself in a best position. Uh, and we saw this in the NBA Finals a couple years ago when they played the 8 seed in Miami Heat. The Nuggets, without Jokic on the floor, they were like a plus 15. When Jokic was on the floor, they were like a plus. They were like a well first in the first couple games they were like a +8, but in the games when they was on the road in Miami, they were like a -16 because Jokic draws a lot of double and triple teams. But the thing is, he's not a good one. He's not the best one-on-one defender. He's not the best one-on-one defending center at all, and he picks the ball up 94 feet from the floor. So he's not the best when it comes to that part. And I feel like when they had guys like KCP and Jeff Green and all them, like when they get open shots and they get open looks, they were simply knocking them down. But this time around, they don't have those guys anymore. And then also Michael Porter Jr., who they just traded. Yeah, they don't have those kind of guys no more. So now they got to really readjust and refocus. Since they went a lot younger, as they got to really take it one game at a time, take it one step at a time. And of course they had Mike Malone. Now they got David Adelman. I mean, not David Adelman, but David. Adelman. Yeah. So now they got it. So they had this new coach involved. So their offense is gonna be a little bit more sped up, a lot more sped up, and they like to really get inside the paint more and attack the basket, and that's really good for them. And yeah, I like what they did, but just not in this game. This game they kind of just the Lakers was just pretty much a little bit too much for them. But moving forward, I think what the Nuggets should do is use a lot of their speed. Um, just kind of rotate the ball a little bit more rotate the ball around a lot more, and just focus on getting Jamal Murray, and then when Christian Brown comes back, get them involved more, and really push the pace and push the tempo, because one of the younger teams, they're gonna be one of the more faster teams in the league. Yeah, they get a lot of foul trouble. Yeah, they do get into a lot of foul trouble. They reach in, they commit heavy fouls. Yeah, they do have a problem with that, so they need to work on that. And they need to work on a little bit of discipline, is what I'll say with that too. And also they need to work on like getting in a strategy and shot creating more, get better shot creativity, a lot more on the floor. To get more easier shots in the perimeter, like draw a little bit more of the 86 motion, or like what the 2018 Warriors kind of style, like of offensive play. Defensively, they'll be okay. Um, Yeah, they got a lot of young energizers that can finish in transition, so they'll be okay on the defensive side. But offensively, just gotta not let the foot out the gas, and just try to find and create better shot opportunities for yourself. Is what I think they should do more moving forward. But yeah, that's all I got to say about this one, guys. I just wanted to give my thoughts about the that Lakers and Warriors game. I will be previewing the AFC Championship games, and that will be coming up in a little minute. So be on the lookout for that. And I will be doing also. There's a lot of new music coming out, so I will be talking about that as well. So, all right, guys, I'll be out of here. Peace. Thank y'all for tuning in. I'm out.